Detroit Tigers are in the middle of one of the worst historical collapses in all of sports. It would be the worst blown division lead in the history of Major League Baseball. 15 and a half games they had a lead in the AL Central in July. Now they're staring down the barrel of not even making the playoffs potentially, depending on what happens over the next 6 games, the last 6 games of the season. So who is to blame for this implosion that the Tigers have been on? I have assessed this is going to be, not wishful thinking, but, it's going to be something that people don't want to hear because we've talked about it so long. I've assigned 40% of this blame to Scott Harris. And we can sit here and say, well, the players got to play better, and we'll get to the players in a second, so don't worry. But let's look at the players that Scott Harris brought in at the deadline to fix the starting rotation. They had some injuries with Reese Olson and Jackson Jobe going down. So who are the people that Scott Harris replaced them with? Charlie Morton, who has since been DFA'd after this weekend, has a 7.09 ERA with the Tigers, a 260 average, and 1.60 whip. Chris Paddock, 6.12 ERA. He's given up 12 home runs. It's a 236 opponent batting average and 1.17 whip. Then he got moved to the pen and has been even worse. 7.82 ERA, 1.42 whip. Both of those guys being added to the rotation, I think actually made the Tigers worse, Kyle. They hurt the Tigers more than they helped them out. They would have been better off just doing the bullpen days, pitching by chaos, and piecing it together throughout the rest of the season rather than letting those guys go out there and ruin starts. Ruin 2 of every 5 starts.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely made the team worse. Like, there was zero help. I mean, yet Charlie Morton and Chris Paddock each had that early start where they were fine, and that was about it.
I hate to bring this up, but Justin Verlander, 3 starts this month, 0.45 ERA. Can even go back to the offseason. You know who'd help right now? I mean, Zach McKinstry over the last 10 days, who is an all-star, the 125 average. You know who might be better at third base? You know who might be a better option there? Alex Bregman, 278 average this season, 847 OPS would lead the team. Just saying. You had to let Boston outbid you. Had to do it. I've assessed 20% of the blame to Will Vest, who in September has an ERA that starts with 6. Go ahead and take a wild guess as to what his opponent batting average is this month.
Ooh. Is it north of 300?
Oh, yes.
350?
North.
400?
North.
No way.
It's not quite 500. It's 424.
Oh, my goodness.
Opponents are hitting 424 on Will Vest.
That's crazy.
To open up September. We're 22 days in.
We're not opening up anything here. We're damn near through it.
20% of the blame goes to Riley Green. The Tigers are bad when Riley Green is bad. The Tigers are good when Riley Green is good. There's a very simple correlation between those two. Over the past 10 games, well, let's actually do it inverse. Riley Green is batting 131 over the past 10 games. The Tigers are 1-9. To open up the second half of the season, Riley Green was batting 156 over the first 9 games. The Tigers were 1-8. The Tigers go as far as Riley Green goes, and he has been the definition of a very unclutch player for the Tigers. I can't think of any big Riley Green moments off the top of my head where it's like, hey, Tigers were down, bases were loaded, or a couple guys in scoring position. Riley Green comes through huge in the 9th inning. There's just not a lot of those moments. And when the pressure is built for Riley Green, I'm not saying that he has, been a total disaster in these situations, but it does feel like, hey, when the Tigers really need Riley Green to come through, there's just not a lot of those moments. And, I mean, it's not just the single at-bats that I'm talking about. It's hey, this week, Tigers have a chance to clinch the division, get back to business, go into the playoffs on a hot streak. Riley Green disappears. We've seen this happen time and time again. I've got 15% of the blame assigned to both McKinstry and Javi Baez. Those guys were both all-stars in the first half of the season, and regressing back to the mean, the water leveling out, that would be a generous way to put it. They have sunken beneath the surface. Javi Baez, 120 over the past 10 games when the Tigers have been losing. Zach McKinstry, 125 average over the past 10 games when the Tigers have been losing. And then the last 5% of the blame, I just have to Chris Ilitch because I hate this guy. Because why not? Let's just throw a jab at Chris Ilitch because
Just because.
Just because. That's just what we like to do.
That's fair.
That's what everybody. That one's for everybody. That one's for everybody. Where do you want to jump in? What sticks out?
I mean,
where's your blame going?
I feel like nearly all of the blame just has to go to the offense, right?
And Will Vest. I don't know how you can leave Will Vest out of this.
But like the Tigers have gone into these back end of the games with just no run support at all. So yes, Will Vest does deserve some of the blame. For sure.
Tuesday night, last Tuesday, was Will Vest's fault. I mean, they go into extra innings, Kerry Carpenter ties it up, and Will Vest just says, offense, you don't even get a chance to get yourself back into this. I'm going to give up 4 runs right now before I can get an out.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating because this was a team that at least was doing the minimum that was always not the glaring hole of this team, but it was something that you always notice. Like, this offense still isn't great, right? Like, we knew at some point it was going to slow down, and it's had its stretches throughout the season, but and Saturday night, Will Vest's fault as well. You know, they go into the 8th inning, 5-3 lead, and then next thing you know, the game's over and they lose at giving up 1 run in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. So, to me, it's got to be nearly all the offense. And you mentioned it with Spencer Torkelson. He has done his part. He has really tried his best to keep this offense going. He's really been the only generator of offense over the last week or so.
He's got the best OPS on the team now. I think Riley Green's highs have been higher. Obviously, his lows have been lower. Spencer Torkelson's just been the best bat on the team throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, he's been doing it all year. Him and Gleyber Torres have really been kind of the consistent guys, and it's shown in the last week because Torres had a good weekend as well, but it just wasn't enough. So, I don't know. When you get solid starts out of Casey Mize and Jack Flaherty in both of these series, and you aren't able to, when they leave the game, have a lead, because that's something that we cannot guarantee is both of those two having good starts, you kind of know that things aren't going to end well, right? And that's what's happened.
It is one of the saddest things I think I've ever watched. You know, specifically talking about this Tigers team, obviously that World Series comes to mind. The series against Boston to keep the Tigers out of the World Series comes to mind. This might be worse than both of those things because at least, you know, you had some regular season success. You got to a big spot. Obviously, those were heartbreakers, but this is like forgetting how to walk. It feels like the Tigers were in a dead sprint all season long, then started walking, and then right when the finish line got in sight, they just collapsed to their hands and knees and started crawling to the finish line. Like, they're not even limping anymore. They're rolling, and they might not even get there. If Cleveland passes them, I think that'd be the biggest. It would be the biggest blown lead in MLB history. I think it'd be one of the darkest days in the history of the Detroit Tigers franchise. And I don't know how you can't, like, you didn't even bring up Scott Harris. How is this not a little bit on him? A lot of bit on him. I think it's more on him than anybody. Than, like, for not going after the correct guys at the deadline.
The team was good
for
at the deadline,
thinking way too
though.
highly of these guys. Yeah, but for him to sit there and
the offense being terrible in the last 2 weeks is not Scott Harris's fault.
No, it's not Scott Harris's fault, but you can go all the way back to last offseason when he was like, we're just totally dead set on our guys. And then this year at the deadline.
Good.
And then this year at the deadline, it's
how could you have disagreed with that through the first half of the season?
Because you have to be able to recognize that Javi Baez is going to come back to earth. Zach McKinstry is going to come back to earth. Those guys totally overperformed in the first half of the season. And he never once was interested in, well, maybe he was interested in Geno Suarez, but just like everything else, he claims to be interested in this, and then he's too afraid to push his chips into the middle of the table. He hogs everything. Yeah, meanwhile, Kevin McGonigal's just doing nothing right now because he's not on the team.
Like, Kevin McGonigal was never getting called up. Like, that's just something that we got to stop bringing up.
Not in this organization, he wasn't. A different one would have.
Sure. I don't know how that changes things personally, but
you don't think any of this is his fault?
No, I just think that, like, continuously going back to the trade deadline in the offseason when the team has just stunk for 2 weeks straight, it is like I can't sit here and point fingers at Scott Harris for not trading for some all-star bat at the deadline when the team was good and the offense was good. Like, it's not like they were in dire need of things at that time. Right now, it's easy to go back and look at that time, but we have to take ourselves back to that time as well.
Yeah, he also actively hurt the starting rotation, though. That's the part that I think we're forgetting.
Yeah,
yes, the offense has disappeared, but how many of these losses have been Charlie Morton comes out and doesn't even give the offensive chance to come compete? Chris Paddock was bad enough there he got sent to the pen, and he still sucks. He still's not good out of the pen. Those two guys made the roster hurt, and I'll give it to him. Kyle Finnegan, great addition. Even a Rafael Montero ended up being a halfway decent addition. Those two starters hurt the Tigers more than anyone else hurt the Tigers this season.
Agreed.
And that is a Scott Harris decision.
For sure.
989-837-6125. Let's get to what you guys think when we come back. Again, who do you blame for the Tigers absolutely imploding here down the stretch? 989-837-6125. We've got the YouTube chat as well. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mid as